YouTube, what up? Right now we got Kristaps talking about being told to go stand in the corner in the 2021 playoffs, man. This is based off the JJ Redick podcast. Shout out to all the new media, I ain't gonna say motherfuckers, but all the new media members. You know, the old media is referencing all the old heads, the journalists like Stephen A. Smith, Chris Broussard, Skip Bayless, things of that nature. And I'm glad that I don't know why the players haven't been doing this, but it's better late than never. And you could tell like what ways are going towards, you know what I mean? So it's a lot of independent YouTube channels and podcasts, and then you got exactly from the horse's mouth that's coming from ex-NBA players, some current NBA players like Paul George. You got Paul George, Pat Bev, Trey Young. I know for a little bit that RJ Hampton was doing it for a little bit, but I never really watched his podcast. You got ex-players like JJ Redick. You got Gilbert Arenas, which is one of my favorites. And then you got hip-hop artists like Cameron and Mace, and it's just a whole bunch of shit instead of just listening. Cause I don't watch First Take no more Undisputed. Even though Shannon Sharp is on there, and I watch his Club Shay Shay, and I watch the Nightcap. I don't watch that shit no more. Like, I don't watch First Take and shit like that no more. I just don't. Let's go ahead and get into this shit, man. The topic at hand. And honestly, cause I remember when back in the day when Kristaps Porzingis was traded to the Dallas Mavericks, and I'm like, okay, this is gonna be an interesting duo, so they might make some fun, they might make some noise. And then they performed not to their capability. And I honestly feel like they wasn't really utilizing Kristaps Porzingis' ability now that I look at it now. But back then, I'm looking at it like, what the fuck Kristaps Porzingis doing? Why is he looking like why he looking like the same? Why he ain't looking like the guy we got in New York? You know what I'm saying? So I want to hear what he has to say, and cause I know what I want to say. Cause with Kyrie is my favorite player, right? So I honestly believe that even though Luka averages a lot of assists and he be throwing some crazy ass dimes, Luka is cold as fuck. He is just not a good player to play with if you like 30 plus, or you know what I'm saying? Cause Kyrie trying to win, and Luka he trying to win too, but he trying to get his rocks off. Like, he trying to get the accolades, he trying to get the MVP, he's trying to get the first team. So in order to do that, you got to fill up the stat sheet. You know what I'm saying? You got to hog on to the ball, because Luka has a very high, what's the word? Holding the ball. Like, what that damn percentage they be calling that shit, man? But y'all know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Please go hit that subscribe button. Lots of fun NBA content coming your way. I think what's interesting about your dynamic, whatever it was with Luka, again, I don't have much insight into it, but whatever.
And shout out to JJ Redick, man. He's always asking the right questions, because he was really the first, in my opinion, he was one of the first ex or NBA players to really come up with a podcast, period. You know what I'm saying? That I'm down familiar with. You know what I'm saying? Of course, the knuckleheads and shit like that, but I'm talking about like that really kind of convinced everybody, like, okay, if JJ Redick can do it, I can do it. So, you know what I'm saying? JJ Redick be giving a lot of questions. I don't be watching him like I used to, like, we'll say like a year and some change ago, but he's definitely he definitely has a good show. And he knows the exact questions to ask.
Whatever it was.
Intelligent.
I just think it's so common in the NBA. Mm-hmm. I mean, I watched it. I lived it on multiple teams. Specifically like with young players. I had a vet tell me the other day, talking about why he picked a certain team in free agency to take less money and go try to win. And he's like, oh, it's because the two stars fucked with each other. They actually liked each other. But these guys were older. They're late in their careers. Winning is the only thing that really they haven't done yet. And I just think it's like a natural thing.
And I already know where they're going with. I already know what they're going with this. Luka, to this day, is still trying to, cause he still hasn't got an MVP yet. He be putting up MVP type numbers. I mean, this nigga has 73 in the game, and now that Joel Embiid is probably gonna be out for the rest of the season. Even though I feel like Shea Alexander should get it, you know what I'm saying? But Luka really has a strong case, and Luka, man, he just very ball dominant, man. You know, and you can't really say shit about it because he's putting up these numbers. But ain't nobody, because you know Luka is so favorite that nobody really talks about how, okay, this nigga putting up these numbers, but these niggas not really performing when it really counts. You know what I'm saying? Like, these niggas not really getting enough touches. You know, they're not really just deep diving into the, you know, people just look at the stats. Like a common fan, they just look at the stats and think like, yeah, Luka was killing this shit. But how did he get them points? Was they swinging the ball? Was it a lot of ball movement, or was it a lot of pound, pound, pound? And then the shot clock is about to run out, and Luka penetrates and he throw a crazy ass pass, and the nigga make it. You know what I'm saying? So
How did not only just like Luka, but like being a rookie, second year guy playing with Melo, how did all that prepare you for coming into this situation with Jason and Jalen? And you know, you obviously didn't.
oh yeah, look, yeah, that's a good question. Cause Melo, we all know how Melo was, man. When he get that motherfucking rock, he probably ain't gonna get it. You know what I'm saying? Cause he probably he catch it in the mid post, turn and face, triple threat. He might shoot it. You know what I'm saying? He probably gonna shoot it, or he might drive. You know what I'm saying? We all know how Melo plays.
To an extent, Drew as well.
Good question. It's I think it has to be pretty. It has to be clear, like what the roles are, like who, because you don't want to. Again, like it's important to.
You don't want to overstep.
Have a good dynamic between you. You know.
You don't want to step on any toes.
You know, but again, honestly, it's not that hard. It's not that hard when you're like past a certain age. I think it's when you're young, you just, you know, like, oh, I'm gonna prove this, or I'm gonna like. The older you get, you're like, I just want to win, like whatever we need, like. Or coach is not playing me, okay. He probably thinks I can't help this team right now. You know, it's like it's not that complicated. We just complicated, and you know, there's some like ego involved and all that, but honestly, it's just have to make it simple, and that's it.
All right, you brought up the Clippers series in 21. I think we talked about this during that series, but I just, you know, Rick basically told you to go stand in the corner, and this wasn't going to be your series. I think I told you this. I had a similar.
Imagine hearing that. Just stand in the corner is not your series. And not too long ago, you was in an All-Star game, or you was, you know, you was talked about in a high regard as being one of the best young niggas in the league. Like, that's crazy, bro.
Our series, my last year with LA, we play game 1 in LA against the Utah Jazz. They're top blocking me from half court on. You know, Rudy Gobert's in this massive drop off DeAndre, so like there's nowhere for me to cut to. Like, it's just not going to work, right? And Doc's, after game 1 in the film session, is like, JJ, this is not your series. Your role of this series is to go stand in the corner. So I think I averaged like 6 points for the series. Had some awful shooting nights, 2 for 8, you know, 3 for 7, whatever. It wasn't. And I was really angry about, not even at Doc. I just was like angry during it, after it. And like a similar situation.
Who wouldn't? Shit, you doing all that training and you being told to stand in the corner.
I was in street clothes, so there's nothing I could do to really help you, but I just remember feeling a deep sense of empathy for what you were going through. What were your sort of emotions in that series, and then even just after the fact, and sort of reflecting on that season and that series?
Yeah, that's no, honestly, like reflecting back on it, I just should have just said, okay, this is what you want, like I will do like that to the best of my ability. But at that point, still, I was a little bit young, and
yeah, you were pissed. Tell him how it is.
How you say, like out of spite, like, oh, on purpose, I will not move from this corner, like that.
That nigga was sabotaging the game. That shit crazy.
Like, but of course, I played hard and I like gave everything on defense, but
you were sabotaging that shit a little bit.
That kind of feeling, and it's not a good feeling to play with. And,
no,
you know, and so, and you can of course find 1,000 reasons or 1,000 excuses and blame it on something else, but. I could have done a better job that series, you know, and that's it. And maybe
I feel the same way. I was like, all right, it's not my series offensively. Like, I gotta go lock up Joe Ingles. I gotta do a better job of being disruptive on a George Hill pick and roll. Like, I gotta figure out a way to actually like help the team.
Yeah, exactly.
when you're in the middle of it, though.
Oh, it's tough.
When
It's
you're
tough.
in
It's
the
easier
middle
to
of
talk
it.
about it now,
Like
but it's tough.
I just want plays to be ran for me, but no, just go stand in the corner.
Yeah, exactly.
We were talking earlier about just like the anonymity a little bit of playing in Washington. Do you feel like because of your stint in Dallas, a little bit because of that 21 series against the Clippers, that by the end of last season, there was like an imbalance a little bit between your reputation as a player and actually how good you were as a player?
Yeah, I believe so. I believe so. Of course, there were a lot of people that, not a lot of people, but there were people that watched how I played last season, and let's say on social media, there were, whenever somebody said, "Oh, Porzingis has been, where has he has been," and they would be like, "Oh yeah, no, he had a great year in Wizards and so on." But in general, yeah, not a lot of people knew that I played some of the best basketball, if not my best season of my career last season. And
I'm a victim of that. Well, I wouldn't say a victim, but I'm a part of that category. Like, I knew how good Kristaps Porzingis was during when he first got in the league, and when he found his role, when he found his little stitch with the Knicks, and he went to the Mavericks, he kind of underperformed because of the places they put him in. And then when he went to the Wizards, if you go to the Wizards, bro, you basically not going to be heard of. Nobody's going to be checking for you. Nobody going to be watching you besides the local motherfuckers in Washington. You know what I'm saying? But besides, Washington, D.C. But, yeah, man, that's just how it is, man. But I like how motherfuckers just be keeping it real. I just love hearing motherfuckers talk. You know what I'm saying? Like the ball players talk. Like I was listening to podcast yesterday. He was interviewing, let me look that shit up real quick. He was chopping it up with what's that nigga name? DeHainty Jones. I don't think I'm pronouncing it. I know I ain't pronouncing that shit right, but I guess he was basically like a journeyman, but he was a defensive, and he was just talking about how competitive and things of that nature. He was talking about Kobe, Melo, the young Paul George. I just love hearing shit about that. So if y'all want me to continue to make videos on this shit, just like the video, man. Really, I'm gonna do that shit anyway, but if y'all want to participate, like the video. It's important. I'm gonna fuck with y'all the next one. Y'all be smooth, y'all be smart. I'm out of here.